So I just finished watching Beastars and it was really good. I know it's really late to talk about Season 1 when Season 2 came out recently as of scripting this, but fuck it, I'm doing it anyways. I really liked the animation even though there was times where it got choppy, but then again, I'll give it a bit of slack because Japanese animated shows tend to use most of the budget on more fluent scenes and details. And also, I'm just more used to fluent 3D animation from video games and Western 3D animation. There's also parts where it would just switch to 2D for some reason, and before you morons go in the comments to explain how these are significant and fits for the moment, or how, and I got told this by someone in the server I'm in a few months back about how it's hard to tell which one is the 3D model and which one is the 2D frames, cause I have personally never noticed it. And I call bullshit to both of these. One, while yes, there's times 2D animation did fit with the moment, especially Ruiz's backstory to establish a contrast from current events to make the backstory more immersive, but things like that are less apparent at the times it seems more random. Especially scenes where the 3D models are in the same scene as each other, it makes it look inconsistent at worst. 2. Just because you couldn't tell, that doesn't mean it's not an issue no one will notice. Like, good for you, you don't notice it. That doesn't mean you should tell people that points this out that they're stupid or just overlooking it. I feel like this issue is pretty obvious once you watch enough 3D animes, play games with 3D anime models, and or just paying attention to the animation. Look man, just say that it was just because of possible budget cuts and it would have been a reasonable argument to go off on. Anyways, moving on from my bit of a mini rant, the acting in the Espanol dub, and yes, I watch a anime in the Espanol, sue me. Anyways, the dub does help with the immersion to the drama, and their performance and voice delivery really makes you feel you're watching a Mexican soap opera if it had animated furries and an actual cohesive plot.
¿Qué haces aquí? ¿No deberías estar con esa chica?
¿Qué?
¿No escuchaste todos los halagos? Ustedes son la pareja perfecta.
¿Qué?
Esto es una tontería.
The Spanish dub is goated, y'all. I highly recommend watching it in the Spanish dub when you get a chance to. I don't see many people discuss about dubs outside of the original Japanese dub and English dub that's not Dragon Ball. The story is intriguing and has intense moments of drama, but also has moments where it's to cool down on such drama, which is a good thing considering that this is the beginning parts of the entirety of the Beastars' story. If I were to guess and to try to predict the tone of Season 2, it would be more drama-oriented as it gets closer to the story's answer to its starting mystery of who killed the male alpaca character. And I'm sorry, I don't remember names all that well. Speaking of which, what I felt like the story did fall flat on is the multiple plot lines brought up in Beastars. Some are better than others, but for the most part it felt a bit unfocused and kind of all over the place. When the beginning event gets brought up in later episodes on the season, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot that happened. I could be wrong on this since I watched each episode at extremely separate times due to my watching habits, and I also don't have a good memory in general. Now before you go to the comments and be like, but Pastel, the whole point of Beastars is that theater kids are psychotic. Because to be fairly honest, the whole theater class thing wasn't too much of a plot point, but more of a plot device to keep the tension to the story. And also, what kind of theater kids do y'all have that act like these characters in Beastars? I'm pretty sure the stereotype of a theater kid is those pretentious and annoying assholes who think musicals are god tier and have only really watched Dear Evan Hansen, Hamilton, and Heathers, and maybe the original Cats if they're a furry, who think they know shit about media in general and annoy everyone about it. Now, this doesn't really affect the rating too much, but more or less just something weird that Netflix did. So what they did is that the episode descriptions refer to Haru as Hal. I have no clue if it did the same thing to other Netflix descriptions in terms of language, but it definitely did not appear in the subtitles. So yeah, that's kinda weird on Netflix's part. I hope the season 2 descriptions fix this. I'll give this a 7 out of 10. I hope season 2 is worth the hype I remember seeing back when the Japanese trailer for season 2 came out. For anyone wondering about my next big review, I'm working on the Voltron Legendary Defender review, but it's starting to feel like a slog to work on since I'm at the last 2 seasons currently, and it's just asinine. Terrible to go through, which will be elaborated when I get to make it. Maybe I'll work on other videos in between on the Voltron Legendary Defender one, and maybe make it a 2-parter so I don't end up delaying it a bunch of times and get burnt out in the process. Anyway, see you next time.